Commander Jake Sullivan stood in the control room of the Frontier Explorer. His hands pressed against the cold metal rail as he stared at the screen in front of him. The ship had been traveling through space for 3 months now. Their job was simple: map the nearby stars, look for planets where people could live, make plans for what to do if they found aliens. Nobody expected to find what they did. The object appeared on their sensors 2 weeks ago. It was old, very old. The metal it was made from looked nothing like anything humans had ever used. Strange symbols covered every surface. The science team spent days trying to figure out what it was. When they finally got it on board the ship, everyone gathered to see it. Dr. Helen Grant was the first to touch it. She was small and thin, with gray hair pulled back tight. Her eyes were sharp. She had spent her whole life studying alien things, even though this was the first real alien object she had ever seen. Her fingers traced the symbols cut into the metal. "This is a warning beacon." She said it quietly, like she was afraid to speak too loud. The symbols repeat in 17 different languages. All alien languages. This thing has been floating out here for at least 50,000 years. Jake felt his stomach turn cold. "What does it say?" Helen looked up at him. Her face was pale. "We need to wait for the computer to finish translating, but from what I can see so far, it is not good news. It took 3 more days for the ship's computer to break the code." The crew gathered in the main room when the translation was ready. Lieutenant Amy Chen stood at the front. She was young, only 26, and this was her first deep space mission. Her voice shook as she read the words on the screen. "Warning to all species that travel the stars. The system marked in red on all maps contains a world of hunters. They are not like other species. They do not give up. They do not stop. They do not rest. They climb to the top of their world by running their prey into the ground. They chase until nothing else can run. If you go to their world, you will understand what it means to be hunted by something that never stops. This is not a greeting. This is a warning. Stay away from the red world." The room went silent. Jake could hear his own heart beating. Someone coughed. Another person shifted in their chair. Everyone was thinking the same thing, but nobody wanted to say it out loud. Amy's hands moved across her control panel. "The coordinates are in the beacon's memory. Let me pull them up." A map appeared on the main screen. Stars scattered across the black. Lines showed the paths between them. And there, marked with a bright red dot, was a star system that everyone on the ship knew very well. It was Earth. The red marker sat right on top of their home star, the sun they had left behind 3 months ago. The planet where every human in the universe had been born. That cannot be right. Lieutenant Peter Hayes stood up from his seat. He was the navigator, and maps were his life. "There must be an error. Maybe we read the coordinates wrong." Amy shook her head. "I checked it 5 times. Those coordinates point directly at Earth. The warning is about us." Helen stepped forward. Her scientific mind was already working through the problem. "Think about what the warning says. Hunters that never stop. Prey that gets run into the ground. That is exactly what humans are. We are persistence hunters. Our ancestors did not have sharp claws or big teeth. They could not run fast like a cheetah, but they could run for a very long time. They would pick an animal and chase it. Not for an hour. Not for a day. Sometimes for 2 or 3 days without stopping. They would follow it until the animal was so tired it could not move anymore. Then they would kill it." Peter sat back down slowly. "So you're saying that aliens have known about humans for 50,000 years? That they put up warning signs to keep other species away from us?" Helen nodded. "It looks that way. And if this beacon is 50,000 years old, there might be others. Older ones. Newer ones. For all we know, every species in the galaxy has been warned about Earth since before we even learned to farm." Jake felt like the floor had dropped out from under him. His whole life he had wondered what it would be like to meet aliens. Would they be friendly? Would they be afraid? Would they want to trade? Would they want to fight? He had imagined 1,000 different scenarios. But he had never imagined this. He had never thought that aliens might already know about humans, that they might have been watching Earth for longer than human civilization had existed, that they might be afraid. "What do we do now?" Amy asked. Her voice was small and quiet. Jake took a deep breath. He was the commander. These people looked to him for answers. He had to give them something, even if he did not know what the right answer was. "We keep going. We find the nearest alien civilization and we talk to them. We show them that the warning is old, that humans have changed. Yes, our ancestors were hunters. But we are not our ancestors. We build cities. We make art, we write music. We explore space because we want to learn, not because we want to hunt. Helen looked doubtful. What if they do not believe us? What if they see the red marker on their maps and decide to shoot first and ask questions later? Then we will have to convince them. Jake's voice was stronger now. Look, I understand why this warning exists. Our species did not get to the top of the food chain by being gentle. We survived ice ages. We crossed oceans on wooden boats. We went to the moon just to prove we could. We are stubborn and we do not give up easily. Those traits made us dangerous to the animals on Earth. But those same traits also made us reach for the stars. They made us dream about meeting other life in the universe. They made us build this ship and come out here. He looked around at his crew. Every person on this ship represents the best of humanity. We are scientists and explorers. We left everything behind to come out here and learn. If we turn back now, if we let fear control us, then we are proving that the warning is right, that humans are just dangerous animals that should be avoided. I do not want that to be our legacy. Peter nodded slowly. So we find aliens and we show them we come in peace, exactly. Jake managed a small smile. How hard can it be? The crew spent the next week preparing. They studied everything they knew about the 3 alien species they had detected signals from. The Velkari seemed to be the closest. Their homeworld was only 6 days away at full speed. The signals they sent into space were peaceful. They broadcast music and mathematics. They invited contact from anyone who heard them. That is a good sign, right? Amy said during one of their planning meetings. They want to meet other species. Helen pulled up images of the Velkari that they had pieced together from their broadcasts. Maybe. But look at them. 4 legs. Eyes on the sides of their head. Thick skin that looks built for running. These are not predators. These are prey animals that learn to think. What difference does that make? Peter asked. All the difference in the world. Helen's face was serious. Prey animals see the world differently than predators. They are always watching for danger. They trust slowly. They run first and ask questions later. If they know about the red marker, they will be terrified of us. Jake made his decision. Set course for the Velkari homeworld. We will approach slowly. We will broadcast peaceful messages the whole way. We will give them every chance to see that we are not here to hurt them. The frontier explorer turned toward the Velkari system. In the control room, Jake stared at the red marker on the star map. It glowed like a warning light, like a target, like a brand that marked his entire species. He wondered if they would ever be able to change that marker to a different color. Or if humanity would always be the species marked in red, the hunters that everyone else feared. Only time would tell. The Velkari Council building looked like it was built by someone who was always afraid. Every wall was thick. Every window had metal shutters that could close in seconds. The doors were triple sealed and could lock from the inside. Ambassador Thelkor walked through the main hall and felt the fear in every stone. His people had been afraid for a very long time. 10,000 years of civilization, and they still built their cities like they were prey waiting for predators to find them. He supposed that made sense. Every Velkari knew the stories. Their ancestors had been hunted by terrible creatures with sharp teeth and sharper claws. Only the fastest and smartest survived. Only those who could hide and run lived long enough to have children. That fear was in their blood now. It would never go away. The council chamber was filled with nervous energy. All 12 council members sat in their high seats. Their skin changed colors rapidly. Blue for worry, green for fear, yellow for uncertainty. Thelkor had never seen so many colors at once. They sent another message. Thelkor said to the council. His 4 legs felt weak under him. They are requesting permission to dock at our station. They say they come in peace. Council Elder Vorsha was the oldest Velkari alive. She had lived for nearly 200 years. Her skin was gray with age, but her mind was still clear and strong. She leaned forward in her seat. The red mark species sends emissaries. In all of recorded history, no one has ever met them and lived to report it. Perhaps that is because no one tried to talk to them. Thelkor suggested carefully. Perhaps they killed others because those others attacked first. We have no proof that they are dangerous to peaceful visitors. Councillor Rathnell spoke up. He was in charge of the military, no proof? The warning beacons are proof. They have been floating in space for longer than our civilization has existed. 17 different species put up those warnings. 17 species that saw something on that red world that scared them enough to warn everyone else to stay away. The council chamber filled with the sounds of agreement. Skin colors flashed dark blue. The color of deep fear. Thelcor took a deep breath. He was afraid too. Every instinct in his body told him to run, to hide, to get as far away from the approaching human ship as possible. But he also knew that running would not help. If the humans wanted to find them, they would. That was what predators did. They hunted. They found. They never gave up. We cannot refuse them, Thelcor said quietly. If we deny them permission to dock, we show weakness. Predators attack the weak. Our only choice is to meet them as equals, to show strength even though we are afraid. Portia closed her 3 eyes one at a time. It was the Velkari way of thinking deeply. When she opened them again, her skin had turned a steady gray. The color of acceptance. Give them permission to dock. But Ambassador Thelcor, you will meet them alone. If they are hostile, we cannot risk the entire council. Thelcor felt his hearts racing. All 3 of them beat too fast in his chest. But he nodded. I understand. I will speak for all Velkari. I will show them we are not prey to be hunted. 3 hours later, Thelcor stood in the docking bay. 12 soldiers stood with him. They wore armor that had not been used in 300 years. It was ceremonial now, kept polished and bright for special occasions. None of them had ever expected to wear it while meeting predators. The human shuttle was small. Thelcor had expected something bigger, something that looked dangerous. But this ship was simple and clean. It looked like a shuttle that scientists would use, not warriors. The airlock opened with a soft sound. 3 humans walked out. Thelcor forced himself to look at them, to study them the way he would study any new species. They walked on 2 legs. Their eyes faced forward. Hunters' eyes. Their bodies were built for efficiency, not as fast as a Velkari, but built to move for a long time without stopping. They wore simple clothes. No armor, no visible weapons. But Thelcor knew that did not mean they were not dangerous. The human in front stopped walking. She stood at what Thelcor recognized as a respectful distance. Not too close, not threatening. Her skin was dark. Her eyes were bright and alert. When she spoke, a translation device turned her words into sounds that Thelcor could understand. I am Captain Lisa Morgan, of the United Earth Diplomatic Corps. We come in peace, and with great respect for your civilization. We understand that our arrival may cause concern. We wish to address those concerns openly and honestly. Thelcor fought to keep his skin neutral gray. Every part of him wanted to flash blue fear patterns. But he held steady. Welcome to Velkari Station, Captain Morgan. I am Ambassador Thelcor. Your arrival is unexpected, but we receive you in the spirit of peaceful exploration. The human took a step closer. Thelcor's legs wanted to move backward, but he held his ground. Lisa's voice was calm and steady. We encountered one of the ancient warning beacons. We know what it says. We know that your species has been warned about us for thousands of years. We want you to know that we understand why those warnings exist. Thelcor felt surprise. You know about the warnings? Yes, Lisa nodded. We know what our ancestors were. We know they were persistence hunters. We know they chased their prey until it could not run anymore. We know that behavior is frightening to species like yours, species that evolved as prey animals. Then why are you here? Thelcor asked. Why come to meet us if you know we fear you? Lisa's face changed. She showed her teeth in what the translator said was a smile, a friendly gesture among humans, though it looked dangerous to Thelcor. Because we are not our ancestors. Yes, humans were hunters once. We still have those instincts. But we also have something else. We have the ability to choose, to decide what kind of species we want to be. And we choose to be builders, explorers, friends, if you will let us. The words hung in the air. Thelcor looked at the human captain. Really looked at her. Past the forward-facing eyes and the predator stance. He saw someone who had traveled very far to have this conversation. Someone who could have stayed home in safety but chose to reach out instead. How can we trust you? Thelcor asked quietly. How can prey ever trust a predator? Lisa thought for a moment before answering. You probably cannot. Not right away. Trust takes time, but let me tell you something about humans. Yes, we are stubborn. Yes, we do not give up easily. But that also means when we make a promise, we keep it. When we commit to something, we follow through. I promise you that we did not come here to hunt. We came to learn, to share knowledge, to find friends among the stars. That is the kind of persistence we choose now. One of the other humans stepped forward. He was tall and thin. His face was kind. My name is Dr. Ben Carter.
I am a medical doctor.
I study how different species stay healthy. Would you be willing to share information with me? I would like to learn about Velkari biology. Perhaps we can help each other. The third human spoke next. She was younger than the others. Her voice was excited. I am Lieutenant Karen Fletcher. I study cultures and societies. I have so many questions about your civilization, your art, your music, your history. I would be honored if you would teach me. Thelkor felt something shift inside him. These were not warriors. These were scientists. People who wanted to learn. People who spoke with respect and genuine interest. Slowly, very slowly, his skin began to change. A pale green appeared, the color of cautious hope. I will need to speak with my council, Thelkor said. But I believe we can arrange meetings. There is much we can discuss. Lisa smiled again. That is all we ask for. A chance to talk. A chance to show you that the red marker does not have to mean danger. It can mean something else. What does it mean to you? Thelkor asked. Lisa looked at her two companions, then back at Thelkor. It means we are survivors. It means we do not give up. And now it means we are here, ready to be part of something bigger than just our own world. Thelkor made a decision, one that might change everything for his people. Come, I will take you to our council. They will want to meet you themselves. As they walked through the station, Thelkor noticed something interesting. The humans looked around with wonder. They pointed at things and asked questions. They were not scanning for threats or planning attacks. They were simply curious. Like children seeing something new for the first time. Maybe, Thelkor thought, maybe the warnings were wrong. Or maybe they were right, but incomplete. Yes, humans were predators, but perhaps that did not have to be the only thing that mattered. Perhaps prey and predator could find a way to understand each other after all. 3 weeks passed since the first meeting. The negotiations continued slowly. Every day, Captain Lisa Morgan and her team met with Ambassador Thelkor and the Velkari Council. They talked about trade, about sharing technology, about the possibility of friendship between their species. It was not easy. The Velkari were nervous. They asked the same questions over and over, looking for any sign that the humans might be dangerous. But the human team stayed patient. They answered every question. They provided evidence of human peaceful intentions. They showed videos of Earth, cities full of people living normal lives. Children playing, artists creating, scientists discovering. Slowly, the fear began to fade. Not completely. That would take years, maybe generations. But enough that real conversation became possible. Lieutenant Karen Fletcher spent most of her time with Thelkor. She asked him endless questions about Velkari culture. He found himself enjoying their talks. She was genuinely interested, not just being polite. She wanted to understand. One afternoon, they sat in a quiet room overlooking the station's garden. Karen was reviewing notes on her datapad. She looked up suddenly, her face excited. Ambassador Thelkor, may I ask you something? Something that might seem strange? Thelkor's skin shifted to an interested yellow. Of course, Lieutenant. You have told me many times that your people evolved from herd animals, prey animals that survived by running and hiding. But you also built spaceships. You explored your solar system. You reached out to other stars. All of that requires bravery, risk-taking, the willingness to try new things even when they might be dangerous. Those do not sound like prey animal behaviors. Thelkor had never thought about it that way. He sat back in his chair, his legs folding under him. You are right. It does seem strange. It took us a very long time to reach space, much longer than it took you. Our first attempts at flight failed because our pilots would panic at high altitudes. Our early space missions had to be stopped many times because the crew would become too afraid of the emptiness. We had to fight our own instincts every step of the way. Karen leaned forward, her eyes bright. But that makes what you accomplished even more amazing. Do you not see that? Humans are naturally curious. We are built to explore and take risks. That is how we survived as hunters. We had to try new things. Go to new places. For us, exploration is natural. But for you, you did it despite your instincts telling you to hide. That takes incredible courage. The words hit Thelkor like a physical blow. He had spent his entire life thinking of humans as superior. They were predators, strong, fearless, everything the Velkari were not. But Karen was suggesting something different. She was saying that both species had their own kind of strength. I never considered it from that view, Thelkor said slowly. We have always seen the red marker on our maps as proof that we are weak, that we are prey and you are hunters. We assumed that made you better than us. Lisa walked into the room at that moment. She had been listening from the doorway. We are not better. We are just different. Yes, we have advantages in some areas, but we have serious problems too. We are aggressive. We fight each other. We do not know when to stop pushing forward, even when we should. Those traits helped us survive on Earth, but they also almost destroyed us. We had wars that killed millions. We damaged our planet. We almost ran out of resources because we could not stop taking more and more. We nearly ended ourselves a dozen times before we learned to control our instincts. Dr. Ben Carter joined them. He had been working with Velkari doctors for weeks. I have been studying the medical data you shared with us. Your people have amazing abilities that we do not have. You can handle stress much better than humans. We get sick from too much worry. Our hearts fail. Our minds break. But your species evolved to live with constant danger. Your bodies and minds are built to handle threat after threat. In many ways, you are tougher than we are. Thelkor felt his mind opening to new possibilities. All his life, he had been taught that the galaxy was divided into predators and prey. Strong and weak. Dangerous and safe. But what if that was too simple? What if every species had strengths and weaknesses? What if the red marker on the maps was just one piece of information, not the whole story? We need to share this with the Council, Thelkor said, his skin flashing bright orange with excitement. For too long, we have let fear control how we see your species. It is time we learn to see you as complete beings, not just as hunters, but as scientists, artists, explorers, people who are trying to find their place in the galaxy just like we are. Lisa smiled. That is all we have ever wanted. A chance to be seen for who we are now, not just what our ancestors were. The council meeting happened 2 days later. Thelkor stood before the 12 council members and presented his findings. He talked about everything he had learned, about human history, about their struggles, about how they fought against their own nature to become something better. He also talked about what the Velkari could learn from humans, how to take bigger risks, how to push past fear, how to be bold when the situation required it. And then he said something that shocked everyone in the room. I propose that we change our approach. We should not just accept a treaty with Earth, we should actively seek partnership. We should work together, learn from each other, build something new. Council Elder Vorsha looked at him with her wise old eyes. You are saying we should embrace the red-marked species? Invite them into our lives? Our worlds? Yes, Thelkor stood straight and confident. I am saying that the red marker has kept us afraid for too long. It is time to be brave, to take a risk, to trust. Councillor Rathnell spoke up. And if you are wrong? If they betray us? Then we will deal with it. Thelkor answered. But I do not believe I am wrong. I have spent weeks with these humans. I have seen their hearts. They are genuine. They want peace as much as we do. The debate went on for hours. Some council members were convinced. Others remained afraid. In the end, the vote was close. But it passed. The Velkari would accept humanity as partners. That evening, Thelkor invited the human team to his private quarters. It was the highest honor a Velkari could give. Bringing guests into your home meant complete trust. Lisa looked around at the comfortable space. She saw art on the walls, books on shelves, pictures of what must be Thelkor's family. It looked like any human home might look. Warm, personal, full of life. Thank you for this, Lisa said quietly. For trusting us. I know how hard it must be. Thelkor's skin glowed pale green. It is hard, but it is also right. You humans have a saying, yes? About how the hardest choices require the strongest wills? Lisa laughed. Something like that, yes. Then let us both be strong. Thelkor raised a glass of Velkari drink. To new friendships, to looking past old fears, to building a future where prey and predator can stand together. The humans raised their own glasses. To partnership, they said together. Later that night, Thelkor stood at his window looking at the stars. Somewhere out there, Earth hung in space. The red-marked world, the planet of hunters, the place that had scared the galaxy for 50,000 years. But now, when Thelkor looked at that red marker in his mind, he saw something else. He saw possibility. He saw hope. He saw the chance for something that had never happened before in galactic history. He saw the beginning of true friendship between species that were supposed to be enemies by nature, and he thought that maybe, just maybe, the old warnings were not the end of the story. Maybe they were just the beginning. The alarm cut through the celebration like a knife. Captain Lisa Morgan was sitting at dinner with the Velkari Council when her communication device started screaming. She excused herself politely and ran to the nearest communication room. Her crew was already there when she arrived. Lieutenant Karen Fletcher looked up from her console. Her face was white. "Captain, we are getting a distress signal. It is coming from a Threnix colony world. They say they are under attack." Lisa felt her blood turn cold. "Attack? Who is attacking them?" Dr. Ben Carter brought up a display. "Unknown ships. The Threnix are calling them Ravagers. From what we can understand from the signal, they are raiders. They attack colonies, take everything valuable, and move on. The Threnix do not have a military. They are prey species like the Velkari. They never built weapons because they thought space was safe." "How long until they are destroyed?" Lisa asked. "Hours, maybe less." "Karen," his voice was shaking, "the Threnix have no defenses. They're just trying to evacuate, but the raiders are not letting them." Ambassador Thel Kor burst into the room. His skin was flashing red and black, colors Lisa had never seen before. "Captain Morgan, we received the distress call. The council is meeting right now. They want to send our patrol ships, but it will take 2 days for them to get there. The colony will not last that long." Lisa looked at her navigation officer. "Lieutenant Peter Hayes, how long would it take us to reach them?" Peter checked his console quickly. 8 hours if we push the engines to maximum. "But Captain, we have no weapons. We have no shields. We are a science and diplomatic ship. We cannot fight raiders." Lisa stood very still. Her mind was racing. Peter was right. The Frontier Explorer was not built for combat. They had nothing that could stand up to a raiding party. But they did have something that had kept the galaxy afraid for 50,000 years. They had a reputation. "We do not need weapons," Lisa said quietly. "We need to make them think we are more dangerous than we really are." She explained her plan to the crew and to Theli. "Kor, it was risky, crazy even. But it was the only chance they had. You want to bluff them," Ben said slowly. "You want to use the red marker. Use our reputation as hunters more than that," Lisa said. "We are going to show them what it means to be chased by persistence hunters. We are going to make them understand that they just made every big mistake." 8 hours later, the Frontier Explorer dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the Threnix system. What Lisa saw made her angry. 6 large ships surrounded the small colony world. They were ugly ships, covered with weapons and scars from previous battles. Below them, the colony was burning. Lisa opened a communication channel. She made sure it went to every ship in the system. "This is Captain Lisa Morgan of the United Earth vessel Frontier Explorer. To the ships attacking the Threnix colony. You are in a protected system. Stop your attack immediately and leave, or face the consequences." The response came fast. The voice was rough and cruel. "One little prey ship dares to challenge us? You have no weapons. You have no fleet. You are nothing. Leave now, or we will destroy you too." Lisa felt a cold calm settle over her. It was the same calm her ancestors must have felt when they started a hunt. "You are right about one thing. We have no weapons, but let me tell you why that does not matter. Karen, send them the package." Karen activated a data transmission. It flooded the raider ships with information about Earth. Videos of human hunters tracking prey for days across deserts. Records of human endurance. People running for hours without stopping. Soldiers marching for days without sleep. Explorers crossing frozen wastelands. Historical data about human wars. Battles where humans refused to surrender even when surrounded. Armies that kept fighting even after losing half their soldiers. Lisa spoke again. Her voice was cold and hard. "Do you see those red markers on your navigation charts? The ones that warn about dangerous worlds? We are from one of those worlds. We are persistence hunters. Do you know what that means?" She waited. Let the silence stretch out. Let the raiders look at the data. Let them understand what they were facing. It means that when we start chasing something, we never stop. You can run to the edge of the galaxy and we will follow. You can hide in the darkest nebula and we will find you. You can fight us and we will just keep coming. That is what we are. That is what we have always been. We do not give up. We do not stop. We do not quit. The bridge was silent. Everyone watched the raider ships, waiting to see what they would do. Right now you are attacking people under our protection. Lisa continued. That means we are going to start hunting you. It does not matter how fast your ships are. We will track you. It does not matter where you hide. We will search every system until we find you. And when we do, we will not stop until you answer for what you did here today. She leaned forward. Or you can leave right now. Stop the attack. Go away. Never come back. And we will let you go. This one time. But if you continue this attack, you are declaring that you want to be hunted by humans. And I promise you that is not something you want. The silence stretched on. Seconds felt like hours. Peter watched his sensors. The raider ships are moving, he said quietly. They are pulling away from the colony. Lisa did not let herself relax. Keep watching them. The raider ships accelerated, faster and faster. They were running, actually running, from one unarmed ship that had done nothing but talk. They are leaving the system. Peter reported. All 6 ships. They are going to faster than light speed. They are gone. The bridge erupted in cheers. Karen was laughing. Ben was shaking his head in disbelief. Peter just looked stunned. Thel. Cor, who had been standing quietly in the corner, spoke up. His skin was glowing the brightest green Lisa had ever seen. You did not fire a single shot. You did not even threaten them directly. You just made them understand who you are, what you are, and they ran. Lisa sat down in her chair. She was shaking now that the moment had passed. That is what the red marker means. Not that we are violent, but that when we decide something is worth protecting, nothing in the galaxy can make us stop. We are stubborn. We are persistent. And now the Thranics are under our protection. Those raiders know that, and they know better than to come back. Karen opened a channel to the colony. The Thranics were sending messages of thanks. They had never seen anything like it. Raiders had been driven off by words alone, Thel. Cor moved to stand beside Lisa's chair. Now the galaxy will know. The red-marked species is not just dangerous to their enemies. They are protective of their friends. This changes everything. Lisa nodded slowly. Yes, it does. The question is, will that make other species more afraid of us? Or more willing to trust us? Thel. Cor. Skin shifted to a thoughtful blue. I think it will do both. Fear and trust are not opposites. You can fear someone as power and still trust them to use it wisely. The galaxy fears you because you are hunters. But after today, they will also know that you hunt to protect, not just to kill. That makes all the difference. The crew began working with the Thranics to assess damage and coordinate rescue efforts. The colony had been hurt, but it would survive. Thanks to the Frontier Explorer arriving when it did. As Lisa watched her crew work, she thought about what had just happened. They'd used humanity's reputation as a weapon, not to hurt anyone, but to protect those who could not protect themselves. Maybe that was what the red marker should really mean, not a warning to stay away, but a promise that humans would stand between the innocent and those who would harm them. It was a new role for humanity in the galaxy. The predator that chose to be a guardian, the hunter that decided to protect instead of chase. And Lisa had a feeling that this was just the beginning. The red marker would never go away. But maybe, just maybe, it could start to mean something different. Something better. 6 months had passed since the Thranics colony incident. The story spread across the galaxy faster than any ship could travel. The species from the red-marked world had faced down raiders without firing a single weapon. They had protected a prey species that was not even their ally. They had done it through words and reputation alone. Now Captain Lisa Morgan stood in the Grand Assembly Hall of the Galactic Council. It was a massive space station that floated in neutral territory. Representatives from 47 different species filled the huge room. Some had wings, some had many legs, some were made of crystals that glowed with their own light, but they all had one thing in common. They were all prey species, every single one until today. Today, for the first time in galactic history, a predator species stood before the council asking for membership. Ambassador Thelcor had worked for months to make this moment happen. He had talked to council members, shared evidence of human character, told them about the friendship he had built with the humans. And finally, the council had agreed to hear Earth's request to join. Lisa walked to the center platform. Thousands of eyes watched her, some with curiosity, some with fear, but more and more she was seeing respect. The rescue of the Thranics colony had changed how many species viewed humanity. High Chancellor Vormak spoke first. He was a Moros, a species that had been exploring space for 10,000 years. His voice was old and tired, but still strong. Captain Morgan, you stand before this council representing a species that has been feared since before most of our civilizations left their homeworlds. The ancient satellites mark your world in red. The old warnings speak of predators who never stop hunting. Tell us why we should trust you. Lisa had prepared a speech. She had practiced it many times. But standing here, looking at all these different beings, she decided to speak from her heart instead. You should not trust us because we stopped being predators. You should trust us because we know what we are and we chose to be something better. Let me explain. She pointed to the giant star map that filled the center of the room. Every species here evolved from prey animals. You learned to survive by hiding, by running, by working together in large groups for safety. Those survival methods led you to cooperation, to diplomacy, to building peaceful societies. These are beautiful things. You created a galaxy that values peace above all else. But there is a problem. When a true predator appears, one that does not share your values, you have no answer. The Ravagers proved that. They almost destroyed an entire colony, and your response was to debate whether it was safe to send help, not because you are cowards, but because everything in your evolutionary history tells you that fighting predators is how you die. High Chancellor Vormak leaned forward. And humanity offers to be what? Our guard dogs? No, Lisa's voice was firm. We offer to be partners. We understand something that you do not. We know what it means to have predator instincts and choose not to use them. We know what it takes to turn hunting drives into protective drives. We can stand between you and threats that prey species are not equipped to handle. Not because we want power over you, but because we understand predators in a way you never can. She brought up images on the main display. Pictures of Earth through history. Hunters bringing down large animals. Warriors in terrible battles. Cities destroyed by wars. Then the images changed. The first landing on Earth's moon. Colonies on Mars. Power plants that gave unlimited energy. Medical technology that cured diseases. Space stations where children from every nation lived together in peace. We were persistence hunters. The warnings are right about that. But what those ancient satellites do not tell you is what happens when persistence hunters decide to pursue something other than prey. We pursued knowledge with the same drive our ancestors used to chase animals. We pursued peace with the same determination that won our wars. We pursued the stars with the same endurance that carried us across deserts and oceans. Lisa looked around the chamber, meeting as many eyes as she could. The red mark on your maps is not wrong. We are dangerous. But being dangerous and being a threat are not the same thing. Fire is dangerous, but it keeps you warm and cooks your food. A knife is dangerous, but it harvests crops and builds homes. Humans are dangerous, but we learn to direct that danger toward protecting others instead of hunting them. Ambassador Thelkor stood up from his seat. Lisa had not expected this, but she felt grateful. He walked down to stand beside her on the platform. High Chancellor, Council members, I have spent more time with humans than anyone else here. I have seen them negotiate with patience that exhausts our own diplomats. I have seen them show kindness to species they just met. And yes, I have seen them face down raiders who threatened innocent people. His skin glowed green with conviction. The humans did not save the Threnix colony for reward. They did it because helping others is what they do. That same persistence that makes them dangerous is what makes them valuable. When they commit to something, they never give up. Imagine having that kind of dedication on our side. The chamber filled with noise. Representatives talked among themselves. Translation systems worked hard to keep up with dozens of different languages. Lisa stood quietly, letting them discuss. This moment would decide not just humanity's future, but the future of how the galaxy viewed predator and prey relationships. After what felt like forever, High Chancellor Vormak called for silence. His ancient eyes looked at Lisa with what she hoped was understanding. Captain Morgan, this council has heard your words and seen your actions. By a vote of 40-7, we extend membership to the United Earth Government. Welcome to the galactic community. The chamber filled with sound. Different species showed approval in their own ways. Some made noises. Some changed colors. Some simply stood. It was not exactly applause, but it was close enough. Thelkor's skin glowed the purest green Lisa had ever seen. There is one more thing, he said loudly. The council has approved my proposal about Earth's designation on the navigation charts. He activated the main display. The familiar star map appeared with Earth's red marker. Then new text appeared next to it. Galactic map entry, Earth. Designation red. Classification, apex predator species. Status allied. Approach protocols, contact through diplomatic channels. Warning remains in effect for hostile entities. Lisa felt tears in her eyes. The red mark stayed, but its meaning had changed completely. It was still a warning, but now it was also a promise. To friends it meant protection. To enemies it meant exactly what it had always meant. There are predators here and they are watching. That night, Lisa stood on the observation deck of the Frontier Explorer with her core crew. Dr. Ben Carter raised a glass. To the red mark. May we always remember what it means and why we earned it. Lieutenant Karen Fletcher added her toast. To the prey species who gave predators a second chance. Lieutenant Peter Hayes finished. To proving that the most dangerous thing is not hunting. It is choosing not to hunt and protecting others instead. They drank together, looking out at the stars. Lisa thought about the ancient satellites still floating in space, still broadcasting their warnings about the red-marked world. But now those warnings came with additional information. Information that was spreading through the galaxy. The humans are not coming to hunt you, but if someone hunts you, they will come. And when they do, nothing will make them stop. It was a new legend for the galaxy. Humanity had entered the stars not as conquerors, not as hunters looking for prey, but as the predators who learned that the greatest goal was not catching prey. It was protecting those who could not protect themselves, and they would pursue that goal with the same endless persistence that had carried them from the grasslands of Africa to the distant stars. The red marker would always be there on every map. Every species would know it. But now they understood its true meaning. It meant that humanity had the capacity for great danger, but they chose to use that capacity for good. They chose to be guardians instead of hunters. Thelcor joined them on the observation deck. He stood beside Lisa, both of them looking at the stars in comfortable silence. Finally, he spoke. I never thought I would be grateful for the red marker. But I am. It means you are who you are. And we need who you are, Lisa smiled. We need you too. You taught us that being prey does not mean being weak. You showed us that courage comes in many forms. Not just the courage to fight, but the courage to trust, to reach out, to give others a chance even when you are afraid. Thelcor's skin glowed warm green. Then we have both learned something valuable. Perhaps that is what friendship means. Learning from each other, growing together. Out in space, the ancient warning satellites continued their endless broadcast, warning all who heard about the Red World and its dangerous inhabitants. But now that warning was incomplete. It needed an update, an addition that would tell the full story. Warning: the red-marked world contains persistence hunters. They are dangerous. They do not stop. They do not rest. They never give up. But they have chosen to protect instead of hunt. Approach with respect, not fear. To friends they offer loyalty without end. To enemies they offer pursuit without mercy. Choose wisely which you will be. That update would spread. It would take time. But eventually every species would know. The red mark was not just a warning anymore. It was also a promise. And humanity intended to keep that promise no matter how long it took. Because that was what persistence meant. Never giving up. Never stopping. Always moving forward. The hunt was over. The protection had begun, and the galaxy would never be the same.